Yes, you can achieve a college education right here in your own community. Harcum College's ACE program at the Deliverance Evangelistic Church offers associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic Church.
How old is he?
Say 10 months.
10 months, and he's got Pick TV at 10 months old. Look at that. That's our brand new member of the Pick TV network, folks. He is so happy.
He is a good happy baby.
Wow. Go Pick TV.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.
Hello, everybody. This is David Evans of Pick TV Network, breaking live right now. Special presentation. I want to thank everybody for watching, all of our viewers all over the world. We're so happy again for the Pick TV Network international audience. We always welcome Brazil, France, Colombia, Mexico, Germany, Panama, Peru, Ireland, Canada, Africa. Dennis is there, Argentina, United Kingdom, United States, and the rest of the world. You're watching the Pick TV Network. Matter of fact, we are live, folks, and we have the brand new breaking news that we have interpreters in these countries. Yes, through Roku, we also have interpreters in all of these countries. What a breakthrough for Pick TV Network. Well, tonight is a special presentation that's dear to me because we're going to be talking about COVID-19 heroes' life stories. Yep. There are so many people, and I'm going to go right into this with our number one anchor person, and that is, everybody knows, Michelle. Michelle Cox is the number one anchor person for the Pick TV Network News. Michelle, this is big.
It
You
is.
told us to get ready a year ago for this.
I did.
You keep telling us even now, COVID-19 hasn't gone anywhere. My son caught it. We have many people who are in our virtual audience today has it. Even our precious booking person, we just heard on yesterday, Celeste from Philadelphia has COVID. What's going on, Michelle? What's going on?
Well, like we talked about before, the one thing about when there's a pandemic, and this is global, this is not just here in the United States, this is global. So we have cases all over the world. What happened was, number one, we had to get a vaccine created. So all the scientists working all across the world got together and they put lots of money into it. Corporations, everybody helped to get a vaccine. Well, the way vaccines work is that everybody, at least 90 to 97% of the people need to be vaccinated. Of course, you're going to have people that can't vaccinate. But the other thing was some of the mandates, like wearing a mask. The other thing, social distancing. Now, because we weren't doing these things, what we had is breakouts or variants. You're going to get a variant because there are going to be people that have a certain immunity more than others. And so we had all these variants come through. First, we had a Delta variant. It was really stringent because it was worse than when we first started with COVID-19. Now we've had Mu, and now we have Omicron. Now these different variants attack our bodies in different ways, and they attack the things that you have going on already. This variant seems to be attacking people with diabetes and high blood pressure more than anything else. This new variant also isn't like COVID SARS-19 when it started, because SARS stands for severe acute respiratory syndrome. It was attacking people's lungs and shutting down their lung functions. Now, this new variant is still doing that, but not to the extent that Delta and COVID-19 when it first came and COVID-2 started. The one thing about variants, we don't know exactly how they affect, but we do know that more children have been hospitalized with this Omicron variant than it was with Delta and when COVID first started. With Delta, kids were presenting with Kawasaki's disease. This new Omicron is putting kids in the hospital, but they're seeing different symptoms. All right, Dr. Evans, back to you.
You know, Michelle, I want to bring you back in before we have a guest. We have a lot of guests on today. Some of our Pick TV Network managers, some of our people who are on our team. But I want to bring you back for a minute, Michelle, and talk about. I don't know, Michelle. My son had it. He didn't have it last year. Miss Spinks, who on our team, she has it now. Why is it so many people? It's breaking out everywhere. Is it working? One of our precious members of our church, Mr. Cruz, she passed away last night. My heart is broken.
Well, David, you have to remember, Dr. Evans, you have to remember, people are starting to go forward like this virus is still not out here. And it's very much out here. And as long as we have a lot of people that aren't masking, and we've got a lot more people not adhering to social distancing. Think about this. If you have COVID in your throat or in your sinuses, a lot of times when we have a cold, what do? We expel the phlegm by spitting. Now, if somebody is walking, we spit on the ground, or someone that has COVID spit on the ground, they're walking through it. That walking aerosolizes this virus. And so it's making it airborne. That's why more and more people are catching it, because we're continuing to spread it, because we as a people don't like to be inconvenienced. We don't like people to tell us what to do. We don't like to have to adhere to what we would think is common sense advice, because we have our pride or whatever that is. But this virus doesn't respect your pride. This virus is not respecting that you're white, brown, pink, whatever. It's not respecting that. And until we start to really do the things we need to do, we're not going to rid ourselves of it. The other part of it is it's a sanitation protocol. Now, India thought they were finished with COVID. They came out of lockdown. They started having these big gatherings. Within 3 weeks, 17 million people in India were infected. And the same thing's happening here. We are having these what we call super spreader events. Every time we try to have, say, a major league football game and they're not adhering to the vaccine protocols or just the mask mandates. Because Dr. Evans, let's talk about masks. These are non-surgical paper masks. They literally last about an hour outside. People think that they can wear these over and over again. These are single use. After an hour, you should be putting on another mask. Those are some of the things that people aren't adhering to. Every mask is not effective. That's why other people are getting sick. The best masks you can have are the ones with the filtration or NK95s. They are better. But again, you still have to wash your hands. You should be Lysoling your shoes when you come in and Lysoling around your person in order to help yourself keep the virus out of your home. Now, kids are going to school. We've got a lot of teachers that have COVID because the kids are going home. They have parents that aren't following the mandate. The kids are getting sick, and they might even be asymptomatic, and they're bringing it to the school system. Well, the school system is a big spreader event. You've got, now that there's a teacher shortage, you might have 60 kids in one classroom. That's right, 60 kids. And if they're getting exposed, they're taking it back to their homes. They're giving it to auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever's there or whoever's visiting. And the other thing, when you're asymptomatic or things get asymptomatic with this, people don't know that they have COVID unless they've been tested. So now they're trying to get home test kits out. But again, if we don't all follow the guidelines, this thing is going to keep going. And I don't know if you remember smallpox. It took them almost 3 to 5 years to get smallpox under control.
Yep.
So those are the things that we have to think about when we think about a pandemic. It's more than just ourselves. We have to think about the children. We have to think about older people that are immunocompromised, and we have to be vigilant. We have to stay on top of it. If we don't, we'll be 2025 and we wouldn't have gotten rid of this, but these cases are going to continue to go up because this vaccine, the virus is going to keep mutating. And we've got so many people out here that are, oh, well, the vaccine causes this, it causes that. We have been creating vaccines forever. Measles, mumps, red measles, diphtheria, polio. And I remember in the 60s when polio was terrible, you could go swimming in a stream or a lake and come out and you'd have polio. That's what happened to President Roosevelt. That's how he caught polio. He was a fine and healthy man. So these viruses are there. But the thing about it is we have to adhere to and care enough about everybody other than just ourselves in order to stop this. All right, Dr. Evans, back to you.
You know, I brought you in because of the fact that you are our number one anchor person. I see your New York co-host came in with us tonight, which is Patty. We host news. This is my news team. They have done so many stories throughout the year, and they on tonight. Patty jumped off another presentation to be on with us. And we're talking about COVID-19 and the spread of the new variant. And I'm just heartbroken because one of my members of our ministry and church passed away last night, and she wasn't vaccinated. And my heart goes out to her family. I have to do another funeral. We have a lot of guests coming in. Patty, I know you're there with us tonight. We had our guests is coming in for a few minutes, but I wanted everybody to understand that these are my two persons who lead my news shows and programs. And Patty from New York. Is it breaking out like that in New York, like it is here in DC?
Unfortunately, yes. And it's the show I was just on, people were sharing about COVID as well, and the lingering effects of COVID also that, you know, they're really not bringing to the public, but it's big. It's like a big deal. You know, people have even lost memory. People are like crazy things are happening. Strokes. I mean, things are happening afterwards. So it's like it's just the plot is thickening, you know. First people were just dying, but the people that are surviving now are having issues afterwards. So there's just so much concern. Hi, everybody.
Patty, we have a special team. We have a lot of team members on and people from all over the country are watching. We get ready to bring in our chat audience too. New York is here. Patty's our #1 news anchor from New York. Our #1 news anchor from Atlanta, Georgia is with us today, Michelle Cox. We have other special guests on tonight. Wisconsin Kimberly, our manager there. We have Monique from DC. She's our manager, Maryland manager. We have the new manager in Bridget, North Carolina, Jerome Bowie. He's a big Pick TV member, team member. We have Tasha all the way from Indianapolis, Indiana. And we have our special guest on, Dr. today. And another one, Dr. Blue. She's down in the bottom. Hey, Dr. Blue. She's on with us tonight. These are our special guests on. I want to bring some of our guests to the stage tonight. I know that Jerome Bowie, who is on our team, had COVID. And I want him to talk about, a lot of people say it's not real. A lot of people say it's never going to happen to me. Jerome, come on and tell us, is COVID real, bro? Come on, tell us, talk to us. Unmute your microphone. Unmute your mic.
COVID is definitely real. We see that all around the world. It's not even doubt no more for some people. When I had COVID, when it first came out, me and my wife, my grandson and my cousin, we was all quarantined. We all had COVID. And it's real. Like you just saying from New York. I made it through it. My wife made it through it. For the grace of God, we all survived it. But I think I'm dealing with another level of COVID now because I went to the doctor. I had lost my hearing in my left ear. And they said they have no clue why. They took x-rays, they did MRIs, and they said they really don't know where that come from. And then to listen to her, I'm thinking that, a lot of times you have a lot of effect from COVID, even if you survive it, like memory loss and different things. And I believe one of the effects might be hearing, because I know I lost my hearing, my left ear, and they did x-rays, so they said it wasn't nothing major with that. They just don't know what happened, but it's real. And it's affecting all other kinds of ways. But thank to God, I'm here to even talk about it. So God is good, and like I say, for anybody thinking it ain't real, I don't understand that, but it's definitely doing what it's called to do. You know what I mean? COVID is doing what it's called to do, so it's real.
When I hear you, brother, and we've been friends going on 30 years. When I heard you had it, and your nephew, and you told me exactly the day that you had it, man. And we have a special segment where you talk for like 30 minutes about the effects of COVID. And everybody, I say the first thing you want to do is get tested. Get tested. Get this home test. We're further along than we were last year. We didn't have anything. I'm going to bring back Michelle and talk about this for a minute. And keep wearing your mask. It's so important for us to keep these products. I got masks on top of masks, and I have these products. We have something new coming out from the government. I think Michelle going to talk about that too. They'll send some to your home. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I want to bring Tasha from Indianapolis, Indiana. Tasha, you had COVID. Tasha, we talked several times about how it affected you. You couldn't move, and tell everybody around the world, Tasha, about your experience with COVID and how it affected you and how you made it through.
Yes, sir. So I want to first by saying thank you, Dr. David Evans, for hosting this space, for hosting this talk. And I'm great. I'm happy for the topic of conversation. We're discussing COVID-19 heroes, everyone. And I did have COVID. I had it at the height of the pandemic in March of 2022, March of 2020. I had the height of the pandemic, and it hit me extremely hard, everyone. And what I mean by that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I could not move. I could not walk. I could not smell. I could not taste. And I had difficulty of breathing as well as shortness of breath. And I have a 2-story home or tri-level homes, and I barely can walk up my stairs, everyone. It hit me that hard. And I was literally bedridden for about a week, and I was on cold and flu medication and also orange juice because I keep in mind I had it at the height of the pandemic in March of 2020. And at that time, things were sold out on the shelves as far as food and as well as medicine. And when I had it at the height of the pandemic, I called my mom and dad and was like, based on the symptoms, I have COVID. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I have shortness of breath. I cannot breathe. I'm tired. I feel so. That was the main component for me for having COVID-19 was I was extremely fatigued. And what I mean by that, I lacked energy. And just keep in mind, everyone, I'm someone who's relatively young. I'm 32 years old. I'm active. I'm fit. I'm very mindful of my nutrition as well as my fitness level. So it hit me really hard, and I literally could not do one push-up, one jumping jack during that duration of me having COVID. I had all the symptoms, and at that time, they had a lot of commercials on TV of if you have these symptoms, if you have these particular symptoms, shortness of breath, you cannot taste, you cannot taste, you cannot smell, and you have difficulty breathing, and you're fatigued. Those are symptoms of COVID. So I had them, and I was like, Mom and Dad, I based on my symptoms, I have COVID, and at that time they were trying to find me a solution such as cold and flu medicine and also orange juice. So those are home remedies to cold. Those are home remedies to ailments. And at that time, everyone, like I keep in mind, it's the height of the pandemic. Just remember, the height of the pandemic, everyone was in frantic. Everyone was fearful. There was a lot of frightness going on, or fear going on. And what I mean by that, a lot of the stores, they were sold out of various items, especially meat product, produce, even milk and dairy, even medicine, everyone, even cold and flu medicine. Just keep in mind that was the height of the pandemic, and everyone was in a frenzy. So a lot of things were sold out. So my parents, they had to literally go to 4 to 5 stores just to find me cold and flu medicine as well as orange juice. And I was even scared for my parents, everyone, at that time, because each time they went to a store, that was putting themselves at risk. So I was like, oh, I'm scared, and hopefully they'll be okay. But I need this cold and flu medicine because I feel like it can help me. But what helped me, everyone, what helped me combat that what helped me combat COVID was my immune system as well as my respiratory system. And what helps with that is having proper nutrition, everyone, as well as fitness and having proper nutrition and consuming the right ingredients. That's what literally helped me with my battle with COVID. And I had a candid conversation with my mom and dad after I got over having COVID. A month or two later, I was doing some self-reflecting because I do like to self-reflect. I even said, Mom and Dad, wow, just imagine if I was over 300 pounds, I lost all that weight, but just imagine I was over 300 pounds today and I was pre-diabetic, had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease. And I was like, Mom and Dad, I don't even know if I would be here. Cause they hit me that hard, hit me like a ton of bricks. And they was like, and when I told them that, they was like, wow, you know, she's right. Because as you indicated, Michelle, it's affecting our community. It's affecting those that are obese, that has high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease. It's affecting those with pre-existing conditions. So thank you so much for making that valid point, Michelle, as well as other points that you have mentioned. And it's real, everyone. It's real. As you stated, Gerard, is real. And also too, I would like to mention, last week I was dealing with an ailment. I had a digestive system problem. I went to the ER, and I even told Dr. David Evans about this. I went to the ER because I was in so much pain. I wanted medical help, and I had in Indiana. I reside in Indiana, everyone. And our I would say our ERs, they're overfilled and overcrowded with individuals dealing with COVID challenges. And I had to literally wait 2.5 hours just to be seen by the doctor. 2.5 hours, everyone, to be seen by emergency ER doctor. And that just goes to show this is real. This is real. COVID is real. And also when I was finally seen after 2.5 hours, as I was going back to my medical room, they had individuals in the hallway. They had patients in the hallway on medical beds in the hallway. So that lets you know this is real, everyone. In the hospitals, they're overcrowded, they're overwhelmed, and they're overfilled. And they're doing their best. They're doing their best to treat patients. And they even have patients in the hallway to get help. They even have patients on medical beds in the hallway of hospitals and emergency rooms. That's how real it is, everyone. So we have to just take the safety measures, as Michelle mentioned. And thank you so much, thank you so much, everyone. This is Tasha, and back to you, Dr. David Evans.
Thank you. I'm just so amazed, thank God for your life. You're watching COVID Heroes Life Stories here on the PIC TV network. Michelle, we're going to bring some more guests in a few minutes. I want to ask you a couple of questions, being our news person, and I'm going to bring Patty in too. with us before we go to North Carolina with Bridget and our other guests today. Michelle, I'm outside of literally the White House is right behind me. The Capitol is right there. When you look up behind me, the Capitol is here, the White House is here. Can they do it by themselves, Michelle? Is something? Can they handle this beast, Michelle?
Well, of course not, because it's not just the United States. That's what we have to get in our mind. It's not just the United States. This is a worldwide pandemic. The UK right now, because they're so overwhelmed with cases, they don't know what to do. They're at their wits' end. And they're talking about, well, just let it run its course. Running its course means a lot of people are going to die. The question is if we take personal accountability and responsibility and say, I'm going to wear a mask correctly every time I go outside. I'm going to make sure I'm washing my hands. I'm going to social distance. If I don't have to go out, I'm going to stay indoors. I'm going to do the things to make sure other people can live. We have to stop being selfish. That's the bottom line of this. This is not just a one nation disease. This is a global, global pandemic. That means all of our countries in the whole world are being affected. They're being affected in Canada. They're being affected in Italy. They're being affected in China. They're being affected in Russia, in Australia. Everywhere there's people, there is COVID. So once we get that in our heads, then we have been blessed in the United States to have the vaccines and had some of the vaccines before other countries. But there's so many people with the conspiracy theory of, well, the vaccine does this, or they made it too quick, or this, that, and the other. They were able to produce the vaccine, number one, because SARS has been in the world before. That's why this is SARS-CoV-2. This is the second iteration of it. It just didn't hit our shores last time. It was localized to China. So they've been studying this for a while. That's why when President Obama was president, he made a pandemic playbook, because it wasn't if, it was when, and when came. Well, we had someone else in office that thought it was a hoax and allowed it to spread throughout the United States. Now, it's here. We still have people that deny it's COVID. We still have people talking about, I shouldn't take the vaccine, especially younger people. And younger people are getting it and dying from it. But these young people also go and see people like me, that's a senior, and they will spread it to me because they will love me to death. Patty, what do you think?
You are right on point, all valid and true. But I do want to have hope and faith, because panic doesn't serve anybody. And after this afternoon, President Biden here in America, even though we are a global news center here with PIC TV Network, Biden gave a speech, and he wanted to reassure that help is going to continue. They are giving away free products, masks, and tests. Also, $10 million into the school systems to test at schools. 95% of our schools remain open. So, he's giving hope to America and the world, because USAID also has been donating millions and millions of dollars for the same causes, again, in distributing all these emergency needs and vaccines. And again, at this point, what else do we have? Right? Other than hope and faith that we can get through this. Because again, fear doesn't serve anybody. Back to you, Michelle.
Well, the part of it is, and before we go on, I've had 54 people die from COVID. 54, including my brother's wife, who was a nurse. Our system is getting overrun because they've got so many people that will deny that there's a virus. When people deny that, we have pastors even several pastors, and a friend of mine is a pastor, several of his friends that are pastors have passed away because they're like still having they were still having church. We have to understand that one thing about God gives us good sense. Well, part of that good sense is making sure that if you don't have to be someone, stay at home. If you can't stay at home, follow the protocols. But just like when we talked about, or when you talk about sexual health, you're talking about wearing condoms to make sure you're not spreading STDs. A mask helps prevent this virus from spreading when it's worn correctly. There are things that we can do if you can't take the vaccine. Some people can't, some people are allergic to it. We understand that. But there's some other protocols in place that if we do, and we do it consistently, we can help each other live a lot longer. Because now we're talking about people getting COVID and COVID long haulers. I have been blessed. I didn't get COVID. I was in the hospital with a broken hip in 2019 when COVID was already here, because COVID came here, as the briefing said, in November of 2019. But we weren't taking it seriously. Then 2020 came as more and more cases started to ramp up, not only here, in other countries. Because you got to remember, the Prime Minister of Great Britain had COVID. Chris Christie, he's a Republican. He was a big Trump supporter. He got COVID and he almost died from it because he has asthma. There are people that have caught COVID and died. So many people. Now, can we stem the tide? Absolutely. There's nothing as a society that we hadn't been able to combat together. But we need to love each other through this, and enough to respect each other and do it together. Dr. Evans, back to you.
You know, Patty and Michelle, I'm covering our new segments from reconnecting the generation, gentrification, the food deserts, all of these new topics we did last year, and this is our opening up for 2022. Michelle, I thought it would be over. Last year when we were talking this time, I thought it would be gone. I thought we would be at least halfway back to normal. But I never thought, Patty, that my son would have it. Miss Spinks, who's on our team, Celeste, one of my persons died last night. I'm broken, Michelle.
I knew, because we have so many people that won't at least mask, that this was going to continue, unfortunately. I had the hope, like you, Dr. Evans, that it would be over. But the one thing that we didn't learn from the 1919 Spanish flu was that people thought it was over and started to go out early. And what it caused was a resurgence of that disease. This thing has happened just like it happened to them. And now we have more people. We're more mobile. People don't want to be inconvenienced. And part of not being inconvenienced means we're spreading this disease around. Now, we talk about heart attacks and strokes. Well, the first iteration of COVID-19 that came to this country was causing the blood to coagulate and thicken. And that's what was causing the strokes and heart attacks. And not even the large blood clots. It was the small blood clots that were in the smaller capillaries that were causing heart attacks. And that's what they're seeing. Now, when we talk about long haulers disease, okay, you got COVID, you get over it. But it's there lurking, attacking something else. Because that's what happened to my sister-in-law. She thought her and my brother had gotten over it. But the next thing we know, she has a stroke. Then she has a heart attack and she dies, because the blood started coagulating even after they thought her COVID symptoms were gone away. So it's going to take each and every one of us in every country to work together and to eradicate this. But it's not going to be overnight. You got to remember, with smallpox, it took them almost 5 years to eradicate smallpox. 5 years. So now we're into year 2.5 now. All I'm saying is, until we get on this boat together, we're going to all drown if we don't start working together. All right, Dr. Evans, back to you.
You know, Folks, that's the number one anchor person for our news, Michelle Cox from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Washington, D.C. Then we have Patty from New York and all our special guests today. We're going to come back in. We're going to have Monique to come from the DMV. We're going to have Bridget to come from North Carolina. We're going to have the doctor to come in. We're going to have our special guest, Blue, and Kimberly from Wisconsin. They're going to come back right after this commercial. You're watching the PIC TV Network special presentation, folks. Those who are watching around the world, chat in. We see you chatting in, chatting your information, chatting where you're from. We're going to be right back right after this.
Hey everybody, my name is Patricia Furberg, also known as Patty. I am the CEO of Mr. Graham and the proud team member of the PIC TV network. I am the New York business manager, also part of the news team on Channel 1000. We welcome you to come celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the PIC TV network. And congratulations to 1 million viewers. Yay! All the viewers, we welcome you. This is the People's Investment Network, and we are here to celebrate the 1-year anniversary. Thank you for joining us in this celebration.
Yes, you can achieve a college education right here in your own community. Harcum College's ACE program at the Deliverance Evangelistic Church offers associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic Church.
Hi, this is Celeste Atkins, coming all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm coming to congratulate my brother, Dr. David Evans, and the PIC TV network on their first-year anniversary, as well as 1 million viewers. That is a great milestone. Thank you, Dr. Evans, for being a man with a huge heart, as well as a visionary. God bless.
How old is he?
Say 10 months.
10 months, and he's got PIC TV at 10 months old. Look at that. That's our brand new member of the PIC TV network, folks. He is so happy.
He is a good happy day.
Wow. Go PIC TV. watching?
Pick TV.
There you go. Hey everybody, we're back here live at the PIC TV Network special presentation. My name is David Evans, your special host from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Right behind me is one of the most powerful places on the planet, which is the White House. Right above me is the Capitol. Yes, the capital of the United States. I want to go right into this conversation. We have our special award-winning anchor persons on tonight, which is Patty from New York. She is award-winning anchor persons on Patty. And we have Michelle Cox on. She's also an award-winning anchor person all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. But I want to take it down to North Carolina, and I want to talk a little bit to Bridget. Bridget, I want to talk with you. Your son had COVID. And I want to ask you, how did it feel to have your son, when he first heard that he had COVID? How did you feel as a parent hearing your son had COVID, and how did you deal with it? Talk to us, talk to the world.
Well, interesting enough, my son has had COVID twice. And as a mom, I will say that, okay, my son is not a baby. He's 25 years old, but he's my baby, right? And my son has asthma. He's always had asthma really bad all of his life. So the first time he got COVID, immediately, thankfully, his doctors started the normal pneumonia protocol. And so he was on, his nebulizer a few times a day. They gave him prednisone and different things like that to as if he had a bad case of pneumonia. He was knocked out for a couple of weeks, and I'm just thankful that he was able to make it through that. My son actually worked with FEMA for a while as far as doing disaster relief and different things. So through his position, he actually got vaccinated. So after he had COVID, he did get vaccinated. He had both vaccinations, and he wound up getting COVID again. Now, I will say that they said a lot of the breakthrough were coming from people that had who were immune compromised. Like I said, my son had asthma, also had chronic hives. So all of his life, he had been taking things to help his immune system to try to counteract these hives and stuff that he was having. So it's a possibility that he needed more in his system. As far as he did tell me that the second time he wasn't as sick, but yet at the same time he said it felt different. And unfortunately, one of his housemates actually has COVID now. Thankfully, he is not there because he hadn't received his booster yet. And I'm thankful that he said he had taken a test that said he was positive, but it was positive for the antigens. So he's not having any symptoms at this time. So he quarantined, and he was going to have another test just to make sure. But it's scary every time, especially because I know that he struggles to breathe on a regular basis, so that's very scary. I lost my husband this year, and they didn't do an autopsy, so we don't know what it was. He was on dialysis, and he was diabetic, but he was fine too. So we're not sure what happened. They just claimed that it was natural causes. Unfortunately, his best friend right now is in the hospital on a respirator, and they're saying he's brain dead. So this disease is horrible because we're losing people every day. I talked to a pastor just yesterday, and she said her congregation, they've lost 44 people in their congregation. And for people not to take this serious, I'm sorry. I get emotional about it because I don't understand when we're compassionate and when we walk in love, it should be a sheer just because I love you. You know what? I'm going to protect you. I'm going to mask up. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that my interactions with you present a very safe, we're both going to go to the next place safe and happy. So my prayer is that as a community, that we begin to lift each other up and we see beyond our differences and just do things for the best of our nation and the best of people in general. Just be kind. It's okay. Just be kind. Be considerate. Wash your hands. That's an easy thing, right? Just to wash your hands. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Evans. Back to you.
Unmute Dr. Evans.
I enjoyed you talking about your son and how you was there for him. He's always going to remember that. And I can remember hearing from my son in California. Stephen had COVID 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to fly out there. I wanted to be with him. I wanted to take care of him. He said, no, Dad, I'll be okay. I'll stay in there. He's 31 years old. He's out there in arenas with Post Malone, J-Lo, with the big stars. And he was at an event, and one of the persons who was on stage at the event, big singer, didn't tell it they had COVID. And that's how he caught it. Michelle, we have a doctor in, Michelle. And come on, Doc, you want to give us some information on how we're going to help fight this thing?
Okay, you talking to me, Dr. Sheila?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Yes. I'm a doctor of theology. I'm not a medical doctor, so I want to make sure to clear that one up. But first of all, thank you, Dr. Evans, for everything that you're creating this platform, because we really need to talk about this. Because I was infected with COVID in April of 2021, and I was being very careful, doing everything that I was supposed to do. But of course, they started to lift things up a little bit. And people were starting to gather. Against my better judgment, I went to a social event, and I do not kid you, within 30 minutes of leaving that event, it was like someone took a sack of quarters and just hit me right in the chest. That's how I felt, just that quickly. And I had no idea what it was. It was hard for me to even drive back home. I was actually driving when I felt it, but I got home and I said, well, maybe I'm just a little bit sick. I need to sleep it off, because I had to work the next day. Well, at work, that's when it actually all came down on me at one time. And where Tasha, I believe, said that she couldn't move, I literally could not walk. I remember walking, and all of a sudden I got slow, and then all of a sudden I could not walk, and I nearly collapsed. And people were like, what's wrong with you, Sheila? What's wrong with you, Sheila? And I told them, go get the supervisor. I can't walk. That's how hard it hit me. And I was sent to the nurse, and I had COVID. So I'm sure I got it from that event, because other than that, I was feeling perfectly well. So where everyone was saying that you have to stay vigilant, even though you're doing all the right things, don't forget this virus is still very, very, very real. And I'll never forget when I heard from the nurse, our nurse at our workplace, that I had COVID. The first thing I thought about was my father, 86 years old. And I take care of him. Unfortunately, he was already vaccinated, fully vaccinated. I was not at the time. And that was the first thing I thought of. I took care of him. I don't want to expose my dad, but my dad's a bishop, very faithful man. And the moment he saw me, when I told him about it, he said, I'm going to pray for you. And he did. And I did everything I needed to do to get myself back healthy. Fortunately, I didn't have to go to the hospital, and I was not put on any respirators, but it was an uphill journey. And it was horrible, as in the way you feel, and there's just the fatigue alone. And one other thing that I didn't hear very much mentioned, but I know that people suffer from it. I suffered through a bout of depression during that time, because I had no idea what was going to happen to me. So, and I was thinking about, what about my family? What about my dad? What about all the people that I know that love me? I don't want to leave them. But my faith kicks in, and I believe very wholeheartedly on the power of prayer and healing. But at the same time, like someone already mentioned, God gives us good senses as well to take care of ourselves. So I did everything. And my sisters and my brother, they all, they came to the door and left it on the doorstep, but I was able to get over it. But it was an uphill journey. And
How
the
long,
only thing
how
that
long did you suffer, doctor?
I suffered. Now, mine was around the 10 days, around 10 days. Around the 7th day to the 8th, I started to feel better. But the breathing was extremely stressful. I could not take a deep breath. Even a month after I was considered clear and was able to go back to work, even a month after that, I breathed very, very shallow. I could not take a deep breath. It totally attacked my respiratory system to the point to where I had to breathe very, very shallow and move slowly so that as to not to wear myself out. It's a virus that really will attack the body. And if we don't take it more seriously, I'm afraid that we may have more that will suffer, unfortunately, with their lives from it. The people in my workplace were they were very serious about it at first. And then when things started lifting up, we had many cases. It started to go down for a while when everybody started to do everything they needed to do. But as soon as things lifted up a little bit, everybody got careless again, and our cases started to rise back up again. So that lets you know we have to stay vigilant on this. Because like she said, if one virus took 5 years before they got in a better place, and here we are at 2.5 years, we've got some more work to do. And considering the fact that many people don't want to be inconvenienced by a small little piece of cloth. Think about it, a small little piece of cloth is caused many people to get into the uproar to where they'll actually fight people. We've got to do better if we're going to save the next generation from having to suffer from what we did. And I yield the mic back to you, Dr. David.
Thank you so much, doctor.
It's a world that we are in that we don't know. I was going to ask Jerome Bowie because I remember him talking to me, and he's a pastor. He was feeding people. He was out there helping folk, and his cousin they just went to get tested, and he told me he appreciates the scriptures that every what was the scripture you was talking about, the breath Jerome?
Let everything that have breath praise. Yes.
Yeah, let everything that have breath praise the Lord, because you just don't take for granted this breathing. And there's a lot of people who make their wishes. They don't want to suffer. They tell their family, I don't want to get on the respiratory system. I just want to go in peace. And you never know, if that attacks you like that, how it feels when you are under that, virus. It's no good. Kimberly, let's go to Wisconsin for a minute. Kimberly, who's here, who is a spiritual woman who's on our team that represents Wisconsin. Kimberly, when it talks about, I heard when Michelle was talking about church, and you was shaking your head when she was talking about staying home if you don't feel good. I don't know if your pastor going to agree with you. I don't know if the church folk, you may get some church folk mad about that part of it, Kim, but you said we got to use wisdom. Yes. Our relationship in the Bible and the Holy Spirit is not in the four walls. It's with Jesus, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. How do you feel about the Christian audience who feel like I got to go into the building and get my praise on?
I would say it like this. If they have their mask on, Dr. David, and they've got the right mask on too, because thank you, Michelle, for pointing that out about the disposable ones, how that's not given nearly, enough protection, and they're making it really clear you need that N95. is like the gold standard, for the mask. And so if they have the mask, the right mask on, Dr. David, you can go into the different buildings and different things and not have a COVID-19 outbreak. But let me tell you what's happening in some states, because they let politics get in there. Yep. June of 2021 here in Wisconsin, a lot of the mask mandates, they decided they weren't going to continue to enforce them. They thought the vaccine was going to do more than it was able to do. And unfortunately, taking the mask off too soon, it wasn't the best idea. So in some places, in some churches, what they were doing is say, well, okay, you can come in the building, have your mask on when you come in the building. But then when you sit down at wherever you're sitting, they were allowing people to take the mask off because they were saying the law wasn't in place to enforce the mask. Now, let me tell you, I won't be in that in-person church service. And let me also tell you, word gets back to you, outbreaks were happening. And so it's not a matter of faith or lack of faith, when it comes to God-given common sense. That we're all on the same page here. I love that part, that we all get it. We've all either been impacted with COVID-19 or know too many people. I can't tell you in 2020, let me tell you, one day in 2020, being a community chaplain, being a minister, being a woman of faith, I got between 8 to 10 different phone calls of death reports. And I said, I'm turning my phone off. So like if you've never had to experience a death like that at an accelerated rate, different people that you used to work with, went to church with, former neighbors, friends, former classmates, colleagues, it's just an overwhelming experience. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And so I knew for me it was real. I can even back it up further than that. When my daughter was in school of October 2019, the kids stayed sick till mid-March 2020, when they shut down, when the world just like it came to a screeching halt, like boom, they
And that's
and
why
I remember even crying out to God, saying, okay, what is this that's impacting the students like this? So for me, I knew it was real. I'm taking it seriously. We go anywhere, we're going to have our mask on, and usually we're not going to be in there for very long.
And that's the right thing to do, not being there for very long. We want to make sure that not only that, and I'm just going to give you what I do, Dr. Evans, while we get Kimberly back on in. What I've been doing is I'm taking Lysol and I'm spraying the return registers in the HVAC system in my home. I'm also making sure I'm spraying my shoes when I come in. And I don't walk with shoes in my house. They get left at the door, but we spray everything. And I spray inside my car. I spray around myself when I get out, going to the grocery store. I spray myself when I get back in my car, because we know that Lysol kills coronavirus. It's been doing it for years. But the other thing is, if we're in buildings, and you got to remember, when we talk about HVAC systems, we're talking about the heating and air conditioning systems. They have a return, and so they circulate heat and air. So if you've got the virus and it goes into the system, it's circulating around. A lot of people aren't spraying their HVAC systems and changing their filters in order to keep that virus at bay. It's just another way that we can all help each other in the solution for this. All right, Monique, what do you think? Unmute your mic, Monique.
I agree. We have to stay consistently vigilant. With a virus like this that has done so much to all of us on a different scale, we cannot afford to be laxed in any area. the things that people are out here doing are really not that important in the grand scheme of things outside of working and, taking care of your everyday things in life. The cruise can wait. um the parties and the gatherings can wait because now we have a snowball. It's like, now that we have all of these things, the teachers don't want to go back to work because they're being exposed. The nation is fighting over masked versus unmasked. The grocery stores are selling out of food, so now we're fighting with each other over groceries because it's first come, first served. They're setting limits. The government is not providing any more assistance and things like that when they know we are just as much on heightened alert as we was when we first started. And it's gotten worse, but they refuse to shut everything down again. So the actions, the actions of the majority is affecting all of us in one way or the other. I have a special needs son, and so I'm terrified to go back to work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't risk, it's like I can't risk, him being exposed. And so I'm like, do I buy a hazmat suit? You know what I mean? My oldest son had it. My oldest son, Ronald, had it. And it terrified me, y'all. For my son to call me, he was sniffling. And I said, go get checked out. He said, Mommy, I think I just have a sinus infection. I said, no. I said, no. Go get checked just to make sure. And he said, Mommy, my heart sank to my feet when I saw that I was positive. I'm like, yours and mine. And so as a mother, your mind just starts racing. You want to go protect him and stuff. He's like, Mommy, don't come over here. I'm like, I'm coming. If you ain't breathing, if I call you and you don't pick this phone up and you don't sound right to me, I'm coming. I don't care. And so these are the horror stories that we hear all the time. It's not, like you all said, it's not just about you as an individual. It's about doing what's best for the greater good of everybody. Thank God that my son had only a sniffle. And when I heard him eating and laughing, I knew he was fine. He didn't have, he wasn't weak and could not walk and things like that. He said, Mommy, it just felt like I had a sinus infection and I had a fever and I went to bed and that was it. Because Mommy prayed. We prayed. So I was like, not this one. I've had best friends and stuff whose whole entire families have tested positive, and some of them were worse than others who had pre-existing conditions. This thing is real, y'all. It is scary. Anytime you don't want to go out the house to go to the grocery store or go to the gas station, or you're afraid to even open your front door to get a package because you're like, okay, I'm spraying the air, when they come deliver packages. It is a real thing. And so for me, I have to tell myself that God has got me covered, because I have to be able to work and I have to be able to provide for my son. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared. I'm scared. I've been blessed not to have it, and I don't want to be one of those people that everybody said I was fine until I went back to work and then I tested positive. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what kind of care my son would have if I'm in bed and I can't move and I can't take care of him. So yeah, wear your mask, y'all. I mean, be considerate of everybody else. Don't kill everybody else because you want to go on a cruise or you want to go to the hottest restaurant and all that kind of stuff. It's not just about you anymore. If we can't work together now, what hope do we have? What hope do we have? We like everyone said, I agree, we are all in this together. And so keep your Lysol handy. Keep your hand sanitizer everywhere. I got hand sanitizer all over the place. Lysol cans almost probably in every perimeter of my house and things like that. Just like, be mindful, because it's not just about you. It's not.
Wow. When I hear these words again from everybody who's a part of the PIC TV network family and the special guests, someone coming on for the first time today, we're going to go to Blue and hear Blue to talk about, again, COVID-19 Heroes Life Stories. And our award-winning anchor persons are on today. Patty from New York, Michelle Cox from Atlanta, Georgia, with us. And Blue, you're here tonight. You're here the first time on this network, the first time you coming on PIC TV network, Blue, on tonight. This topic was dear to you. Tell us why. Unmute your microphone.
Sorry, first time on. Thank you, Dr. Evans, for having me on. I'm just grateful for the platform. This topic was near to me because in October of 2020, my entire family contracted COVID-19. Now, my family consists of two elderly people. At the time, my mom had just had her 90th birthday on June 29th, my angel, and my dad was 89. They have been married for 62 years. And I am pretty healthy. I was vegan. I'm not saying you have to be. I ran 5 miles a day, biked 2. Just a healthy young lady. Well, I call myself a young lady. And, but I made the mistake of going to a studio where the host was unmasked. And my son worked there. And my son is a musician. And I noticed that he had a cough. And I had a mask on. And I'm somewhat of a hypochondriac. So I was wiping and wiping. But for my interview, I took off my mask. So a few days later, I just didn't feel right. It was like I was dragging. I couldn't run. I'm a pretty healthy person. And then I had a hack. And then I just had all kinds of stuff, gastrological illnesses and things of that nature. So I immediately went to get tested and I was positive. So I went and got tested again just to make sure, because, you just can't believe it. This is October of 2020. Like one of the other hosts said, it was barren. There was nothing. They didn't have the medication. They didn't have the monococcal cocktail. They didn't have the vaccine. So I thought because I was healthy, I would be okay. But I did bring it home, unfortunately, to my family. And my 90-year-old mom passed. And so that was careless of me, and I'll never get over that. But she had underlying conditions. And I, who did not have underlying conditions, got double pneumonia. So I remember walking, and I felt like I was in a wind tunnel. And then the next thing I knew, I was in the hospital, and I was on oxygen. I never had to go on a ventilator, thank God. But while I was in the hospital, my mom went into the hospital. And in the ambulance, she said to my sister, who is a pastor, take care of Sherry. Make sure she makes it. I'm okay. So I really believe, and this is just my belief in my faith in God, that my mom made a covenant with the Lord to save me, her daughter. And I just believe she decided to go home. And so she got better before she got worse. We saw her on a video. We were happy to see her on a video. She was sleeping, resting peacefully, not on oxygen. And they said, oh, she's going to eat tomorrow, and she's better. And then on November 12th at 11 a.m., she passed. And so we got to see her, and she was resting peacefully. I still was battling with the pneumonia. I had the pneumonia for 2 months. I am a long hauler. I have lung damage. I have some problems. So I couldn't move. Like, I think it was Kimberly or someone said, I had blisters in my throat. My skin, they don't talk about this part, your skin gets dark because you don't have oxygen. It affected my eyesight. It affected, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. It affected my brain. And so once I was through with it after 2 months, I couldn't even crawl to the mailbox. I couldn't go up the stairs to take a shower. It was a beast. It was just a beast. My 90-year-old dad, on the other hand, 89, had it for like 7 days. My 66-year-old sister, who's a smoker, had it for 7 days. Of course, my son in his early 20s had it for 7 days, and everybody just had it, and my mom and I got it worse. So I don't want to have a pity party here, but it's really real, and I still have after effects of it. I often get winded. I've had kidney issues from it because it goes throughout the body. I'm not a doctor, but because I'm vegan and because I did have a good work ethic as far as working out, and that is, and the grace of God, I'm sure. That is why I feel like I survived the COVID-19. And remember now, everybody, it was early, as the young lady said. And I mean, it took my hair out. It's a horrible, horrible monster of a disease. And I want to tell you, I was diligent. I was very diligent. I used to spray. Who is the anchor, the wonderful anchor that is talking about spraying all the time? Yes, I sprayed all the time. And I wipe. I'm staying here with my dad now, who's 90. We're taking care of each other. And I'm a poet, and I created a poem for COVID-19. I tailored it, Dr. Evans. It doesn't have any bad language or anything in it. And maybe at the end of the show, or maybe another time, I could read the poem. It kind of describes my plight with COVID-19, because when you have it, you feel like you've only been sick for a week, but you've been sick for 4 when you have the pneumonia. I remember waking up on oxygen, and I was like, "This, what is this?" And it was the oxygen in my nose. And then they took me off of the oxygen after 2 days, and I went home. I thought they sent me home to die. And sister and father kept bringing me medicine and food to the door, even though they had COVID. Nobody. I remember my faith. I remember praying to God. And I remember my mom passed, and that was another blow. So the depression is real, because I had depression. I'm so sorry to take so long, but it was bad. But I made it through. And my dad and I were taking care of each other now, and my sister and my son has schizophrenia. And so he often didn't wear his mask, and that's why he contracted it. And so I say about this to everyone, please wear your mask. And like our beautiful commentator said, our anchor woman, I wear this one, the K95, N95, because it's the one that you wear that protects you. I have to go into the hospital all the time to see my son in the psych ward. So I'm not going in there without this. And I'm not going out there. I took a lot of supplements to get better. Everyone, this is really quick. I took all the supplements, vitamin D, zinc, A, B, C, everything, plant-based, all the mucus-busting foods. I'm not a doctor, but I had to eat a special diet to bust the mucus so it wouldn't settle in my chest and I'd go on a ventilator. So I yield the mic. I'm so thankful for this platform. I'll do the poem later, Dr. Evans, because I know it's a long poem that I've been reading. No. I'm a spoken word artist and an author.
We're going to definitely
thank you so much.
We're going to have that poem read. I was just listening to you, and I want to send my condolences to your family. That's what Michelle was talking about last year when me and Michelle and Patty was on last year. We had our special COVID-19 presentation, and we were talking about this, Patty. We were talking about so many people in New York which are affected, in Washington, D.C., and then Michelle said it's not gone. She kept saying it. She kept telling us what to do, wearing our masks, having this product to be home tested now. Michelle, even the government, they're talking about getting these to people per family. I had an internet email went out yesterday. They're giving these away to families, and you kept telling us, wear your mask, wear your mask, don't take off your mask. And the queen was just saying she was in the studio, an innocent place with her son, and caught it there. And I was listening to the same testimony of or the same story of Tasha. Her sister was at a party during New Year's, and the person at the party New Year's never told anybody she had COVID. Then her sister caught it, best being in that party. Michelle, why is it that being in that close surroundings like that, Michelle, it's just like something that just blows out all over the place? Why is it?
Well, here's the deal. So let's think about when we talk about communicable or contagious diseases. Did you know that a sneeze travels at 100 miles per hour? So while they mandate 6 feet, I always like a little bit more room. Now, if a sneeze goes out, the particulates get in the air. Well, in most stores, they have recycle, or most places they have either heating on or air conditioning. It's going to recirculate throughout the room, and that's how it spreads. Okay, say somebody, not only the particulates from a sneeze, but they cough and they accidentally spit. People walk through it. They're aerolizing this stuff because you're stepping through it, and it gets aerolized, so it gets in the air. We're touching everything, your clothes, this, that, and the other, touching, bumping. These things all help with the spread. That's why we've been telling each other that whole making sure that you have space in between you. The one thing about the measles, the mumps, smallpox, diphtheria, all these diseases is they killed millions before people started to enact. Now, just so you know, we're almost at 4 million dead globally. We're almost at 1 million here in the United States. And even though this Omicron variant is a little bit milder, the long haul symptoms are what we have to deal with now. Not only depression, but it's attacking other organs. That's the other things that we have to be concerned with, because we're going to have a whole group of people that aren't going to even be able to physically work in some capacity or another, because they might have lung damage, they might have heart disease, all of this brought on from catching COVID. Now, the cool thing about what's going on is that we have a vaccine. Well, we have 3 vaccines. With this vaccine, people that are taking the vaccine are 20 times less likely to end up in the hospital. Of course, you're going to have some breakthrough cases because those people have some type of underlying condition. But more than likely, they're not going to die. But the most people that are coming in that are in the hospital on ventilators are the unvaccinated. Now, I've got a sister friend that works for the CDC, and I've got a couple of other sister friends that are into nursing. And this one sister friend that's an RN and a doctor in Tennessee, they say 92% of their cases are the unvaccinated. That's what's filling up the hospital right now. 92% of the cases coming in the hospital right now are people that weren't vaccinated. We all have our thoughts on the vaccine because we have what we think we know. But COVID or SARS, and let's talk about SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, was in China before. It didn't come here. Now, the genie got out of the bottle, number one, because in China, they had a Chinese New Year. Well, lots of people that are Asian go from the United States and other countries to the Chinese New Year. They were actually attacking Chinese doctors when they were telling them, you need to tell people we have a serious health event. And they were asking the prime minister not to make sure that they didn't have the Chinese New Year. He didn't want to lose the money from the Chinese New Year. They had it anyway. So all these people came from all over the world to the Chinese New Year. Well, they went back home. Super spreader event. Then we started seeing it in nursing homes. Well, super spreader event. We started seeing it pop up in schools, teachers getting sick. then we've got our frontline workers. These are people that have to go home to their families. And so many of the doctors and nurses have either gotten COVID, and some of them, quite a few of them, have succumbed to COVID. And that's what happened to my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, Mary. The thing of it is we can do a few small things to help each other. Number one, wear a mask, not just any mask, NK95, or if you decide to wear these, change them once every hour. Yes, I go through a box every 2 or 3 days. The other thing, wash our hands. When we talk about washing our hands, between the fingers, 20 seconds, all the way up to the wrists. Change the filters in your home. Spray Lysol. Don't wear your shoes in the house. Make sure you're spraying your car. Make sure you're spraying surfaces. You're going to get gas. I take my Lysol can out and I spray the handles of the pumps. Sanitizer has to have at least 70% alcohol to be effective. But my thing is, if you can work from home and you don't have to go out except for to get groceries or something like that, try not to go to these events. Of course, are we tired of being in the house? Absolutely. But like Miss Blue said, she wished she could have taken some other precautions because her mom basically traded her life for hers. And she is now a long hauler with lung damage because someone else in the studio didn't mask, and she had been masking and got her sick. So remember, this stuff lives on surfaces for several days, unless you're actively killing these surfaces. But if you're in contact in close proximity with somebody that has this virus and they're contagious, that means they're running a low-grade fever, yes, they can pass it to you because you're breathing the same air. Dr. Evans, back to you.
Folks, we are just about finished with this segment of our broadcast. We have another one. I'm going to bring back Patty up from New York. You know, our award-winning anchor. I love saying that. Our number one award-winning anchor person, 2021, 2022, Patty, is with us, and the great and awesome Michelle Cox, and covers all topics, always ready.
And Dr. Evans, I also want to remind everybody that the link is so easy. I submitted to get a free test because if you have a symptom, at least you know you have it or you don't, you know. And the link is HTTPS, which is a secured site. It's special, SPECA. The word special, SPECIAL.USPS.com/test kits, TESKITS. I'm not sure if you're able to put that in the link for everybody, but that's special.USPS.com/test kits. And all you basically do is just put in your name, address, and you're done. It's not a big questionnaire. It's very, 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 it should take less than a minute to fill out, and you get, I think they're sending 4, if I'm correct, to each household. But again, and the new guidelines, because of shortages of work, if you are asymptomatic and you are positive, people are allowed to go back to work with COVID if they don't have symptoms. So it is getting a little creepy. I mean, again, they're trying to prevent shortages from work so we don't have another shutdown, but it's a little like treacherous waters. So again, wear your mask in case you don't know who still has COVID and they don't have symptoms, so they're going back to work. They might not disclose it to you. So if you wear your mask, you're at least protecting yourself. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, Patty, I want to thank you for that information. We're seeking we get that up there right quick. There's so many people. Is that it right there, Patty?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is so important. That's why you're watching Pick TV Network, folks. We get you the information that you need. I'm always happy to hear my award-winning anchor persons on tonight, Michelle Cox and Patty from New York. They cover so many topics. You can watch them every Tuesday. Every topic we come on, they're ready. They do an awesome job. I'm so happy. And for our special guest tonight, we have another presentation coming up after this. I want to thank Kimberly for coming on. Kimberly, all the way from Wisconsin, the cold Wisconsin. Unmute your microphone, Kimberly. Unmute that microphone. The cold Wisconsin, Kimberly.
Yeah, it's cold.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the single digit. It'll be 2 degrees come tomorrow morning. Yeah, with a negative wind chill. There you go.
Ice Bowl. I won't see you no time soon. You hear that, folks? I want to thank Monica, who's on our team. Monica is from the DMV. She gets everybody ready for the screen when they come on TV. The TV ready. Queen Monica is here today. Thank you for Monica for joining us. Miss Blue, your first time coming on. What an awesome testimony. We got to bring you back again. Sending our love and prayers to you. Also, the great Bridget, the great, awesome Bridget from North Carolina. Bridget, did y'all have a lot of snow down there? I know y'all supposed to have a lot of snow down there, Bridget. No snow? You got to unmute your microphone, Bridget.
We had a dusting. I will say it iced up just a little. So by the time we got to the afternoon, it was gone. However, they're saying on Friday we might get 6 to 8 inches. And I'm like, oh,
there
Lord.
You go. There you go.
Real quick, Dr. Evans, I'm from Buffalo, New York. So there were times when we went to school, back in the day, I think the worst one was Blizzard of 77. And we had snow as high as our cars that it was buried in. We jumped off the top of the porches in order to get out of the house because it was just barricaded with snow. So I don't want to see no snow.
I feel it. I can feel you all the way through this bowl of this broadcast, through the screen. Tasha Determined, thank you for coming in Indianapolis, Indiana, who's our team person there. And you got to come back again, Tasha, talk about part 2 and how cold it was in the emergency room because they said COVID doesn't like the cold. So they put the air conditioning on in the midst of being wintertime, and she was freezing in there, folks. Take your blanket if you're going into the ER, if you're going into the emergency room. Please take your blanket, a heated one at that. I want to thank you, Doctor, for coming in, Dr. Silla, for coming in tonight, being with us. Patty, always. Jerome Boyd, my main man, Jerome Boyd, is on tonight. Thank you from Jerome Boyd coming in, Capitol Heights, Maryland. Folks, we got to close out this broadcast. We have another broadcast coming up after this. And all of our special guests who are chatting in, you guys, we couldn't do it without you. For those who have been watching the broadcast, don't touch that dial. We got some more coming right after this. How old is he?
It's like 10 months.
10 months, and he's got Pick TV at 10 months old. Look at that. That's our brand new member of the Pick TV network, folks. He is so happy.
He is a good happy day.
Wow. Go Pick TV.
Yes, you can achieve a college education right here in your own community. Harcum College's ACE program at the Deliverance Evangelistic Church offers associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic Church.
Hey, little man, what's your new TV network you're going to be watching?
Pick TV.
There you go.